The Partial Breakaway Podcast with your hosts Nick and Junior and producer Vince, bringing you elite fantasy hockey information to help you win your fantasy leagues and win at life.
Episode 176 of the Partial Breakaway Fantasy Hockey Podcast. I'm co-host Junior, accompanied by co-host Nick and producer Vince. It's episode 2 of team previews. We started with the Vancouver Canucks, and today we will be previewing the Calgary Flames of the Pacific Division.
We'll continue with our Pacific team previews until Pacific is done, and then probably move on to the rest of the Western Conference before moving on to the East. So Calgary is our sad little preview today.
Not sad. It needs some work.
All right. So today we're going to break down the Calgary Flames. The Calgary Flames, who continue to build towards the future. We will break down which players are fantasy relevant, which ones are due for a breakout, which ones to stay away from, and more importantly, what role will newly acquired Simon Nemec have. But before all that, let me remind you all to follow us on social media platforms: X, Instagram, TikTok. Like, subscribe on YouTube, and leave us reviews. Tell us what you think about it. If you got questions, leave us questions. We'll get back to you whenever we can.
And if you didn't like our Vancouver Canucks episode because you think Kelvin Holtra is the next coming of Sidney Crosby, you could comment on it. Let us know. Let us know what you think.
They have, and they will.
Let's have a discussion, ladies and gentlemen. All right. So to start off the preview, we're gonna do an off-season recap of the Calgary Flames. Coaching change, there is none. They still have the same coaches last year. Who's out? Blake Coleman, Olimata. Who's in? Simon Nemec, Maxim Tipsliklov. Wow.
Sideropoulos.
Yeah.
Tipsliklov.
And Jake Middleton. The stats of the Calgary Flames of last year. So, Nick, can you just lower so I can...
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, you're in charge.
I'm in charge of this now.
All right. So
I'm the captain now.
So the team recap of 2025-2026. The Calgary Flames finished with a record of 34, 39, and 9, which was good for 30th in the league. Goals for, they scored 208 goals, which was 32nd in the league.
Eesh.
Yeah. So, and I don't think it's going to get better this year, but we never know. 256 goals against. That was 20th. So I think that has a lot to do with Dustin Wolf being their goalie. That they weren't 32nd in goals against.
Or maybe it was Cooley.
But we will see. Power play, they ranked 31st in the league at 16.16%. And for fantasy relevance, I think that's the one thing that needs to go higher if any of the players are going to be fantasy relevant in this year. Penalty kill, the one positive in Calgary was they were 12th in penalty killing at 80.41%. Once again, could have a lot to do with Dustin Wolf being
Blake Coleman, Michael Backlund. These guys were great penalty killers.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, just looking at these stats, we see that they weren't a very good team last year. They will not be a very good team this year. But let's put it in fantasy perspective. So we have tiers in our fantasy rankings. We have tier 1, which is a fantasy star. Tier 2 are reliable starters. Tier 3, supporting cast. Tier 4, streamers. And tier 5, which is void. Like fantasy stars, we're talking about players that can put up 90 plus points per year. Reliable is between 70 to 80 points. Supporting cast are people that can put up, just under 70 or between 70 and 55 or 60. Streamers are guys that you're going to pick up mid-season off the waiver pickup, either because they have a hot start or they're having a really good week that week, or they're on a hot streak. We pick them up. So we'll start with fantasy stars. Unfortunately, in the Calgary Flames right now, we do not have any
Not yet.
fantasy stars. Not yet. They have. Listen, if you listen to our prospect episode a few episodes back, they were ranked number 1 or number 3 in fantasy prospects. I think it was number 1.
Why does this guy throw out questions that are not written on the
think it was
sheet? I don't know. If I,
We ranked
No,
prospect
we
teams?
took the Athletics ranking of prospects. Oh my god, you guys don't remember?
that was like 4 weeks ago.
We're
man.
fresh off a 2-week break, ladies and gentlemen. So
right, so-
please forgive us our
Tier 2 is reliable.
lack of memory.
Tier 2 reliable starters. Also there, no, we do not have any Calgary Flames in reliable starters. But in Tier 3, we do have players that can be fantasy supporting cast. First one is Matt Coronado. Junior, what can you tell us about Matt Coronado?
Matt Coronado might be the most relevant player on this team in terms of offense for the time being. Last year, he had 18 goals, 27 assists, 45 points in 80 games. Nothing, that makes you your jaw drop or anything like that. But look, he's going to get opportunity. He's going to get power play 1. He's going to be top 6. We'll be curious to see how it plays out, who he plays with, if he plays with a defensive center like Backlund, or if they pair him up with Morgan Frost, who I know Nick will talk about soon because he's high on him. That could be interesting too. So Matt Coronado was only deployed for 16 minutes a game for a team that really, let's be honest, they sucked. Only deployed 16 minutes a game for a guy who was supposed to be your goal scorer. I'm hoping to see that go up at least to 18. There's no need for Huberdeau to be playing more minutes than Coronado. He's still the highest. He was still the second highest winger in terms of time on ice. But Coronado is going to be fantasy relevant. He'll be a guy that will be able to fill your holes, that on some weeks he can make you get past your week, and there's other weeks he might not be productive at all.
And Nick, before you give your 2 cents on Coronado, also, Nazem Kadri is not there anymore. He wasn't in our players that were out, but he is not there anymore. He's with Colorado.
Yeah, because he got traded last year.
Yeah, exactly. So there is more ice time to be given out to other players this year. So what can you tell us about Coronado?
Well, that ice time would go to Frost because not Coronado, because Frost is a center and Kadri was a center. But Coronado already had the second highest ice time on this team. The problem with this is that the coach seems to be allergic to offense. And Coronado is the most offensive player that they had. And the other most offensive player that they had was Blake Coleman, believe it or not, and he's gone. So Coronado led the team with expected goals for with 21.9. He actually only scored 18. So I see Coronado as somebody that if he could have maybe some offensive player with him, he could actually do something. But right now, there's just so much lack of offense on this team that there's nobody that could help him. He's alone out there on an island. And that's why he's not putting up the points that you expect him. I actually think Coronado is going to be a future 70-point player in the league, but you need to have some talent around him to do that. Before you go on, fun story. I asked ChatGTP, who should I trade Forsberg for? And they said Matt Coronado, Philip Forsberg from Nashville, because I wanted to get younger. So that was my criteria. I still want point production future, and they said Matt Coronado. So I did the trade.
Did you really?
Oh yeah. In Lama, I traded away Philip Forsberg and or nothing else for Matt Coronado and a draft pick. And I'm really hoping that pays off.
I'm glad
ChatGPT is full of.
I'm glad you joined the artificial intelligence world of fantasy, because I think not a lot of people are using it. But I mean, I used it when I went to acquire Logan Thompson from Vince too. Told me I needed goalies, so I went to get the best goalie.
So the second, so Nick, you started a bit talking about this player. The second player we have in the supporting cast, which is our tier 3, is Morgan Frost. So can Morgan Frost be the offensive support Coronado needs to up his points this year?
Well, this team has no centers. So it's Frost and Backlund, and you're expecting Backlund to get some of the defensive deployment. Also, they have Ryan Strome, who's also pretty defensive. So those are your two defensive centers. So I'm expecting Frost to get all the offensive deployment that's out there and top line minutes with the top line offensive players. For me, Frost is the one that's going to benefit the most from Kadri not being there.
Junior?
Yeah, and he quietly scored 22 goals last year, career best for him. With only 15 minutes of ice time, his shooting percentage was a little high at 15.7, but not that high that it could make a significant difference from one year to the next. Like like Nick said, I think he'll get more opportunity this year with Kadri not being there. I could see him being on power play 1, being in the top 6. There's a good chance that he continues his progression this year. I like it.
Both these players will be on the power play?
I think so. I don't see. I mean, for me, it's Frost, Coronado, probably Huberto,
Yeah,
because he is the best setup guy that they have.
They might put Backlund in front of the net.
And depending on how much they continue liking Gridden, he could be there. Hopefully, it's not going to be Ryan Strome. I don't want to see that. Maybe Sharangovich, but... And then who's the power play quarterback, right?
That's going to be the $1 million question.
So, talking about power play quarterback, we're into tier 4, which are streamers. So, these are players, all three of these players, if you're in a dynasty league, some team has them. But if you're not, these could be players that you pick up off the wire waiver pickup line during the season. The first one we're going to talk about is the young and talented Zane Parekh. Junior, Zane Parekh, not ready to take that number 1 role, but what do you expect from him this year?
I would have. I think I would have put him in the supporting cast. I think he's due for that. I think he's going to get the deployment over Simon Nemec in terms of power play. What's wrong? What's happening?
Keep talking.
This
kid doesn't know how to continue.
Well, because I thought you were talking about my point. but yeah, I think he's going to get the opportunity. I think he's going to be the power play 1 guy. So I would consider having him at supporting cast. But because of the uncertainty, we have him here at streamers. Only 4 goals, 5 assists last year in 37 games played. Small sample size for sure. But you saw that at the end of the year, he was getting progressively more comfortable. And I'm hoping that carries over this year, and I could see him possibly being a breakout candidate.
Nick, anything to add?
I mean, we've put Parekh and Nemec here, and that's simply because we don't know who's going to be the top power play guy, because whoever is the top power play guy is going to have more streamer value. And if I knew that it was Nemec for sure, I would have put him in the supporting cast right away. Or, if it was Parekh for sure, I would have put him in the supporting cast right away. So for me, that would be the differentiating factor. But for now, they're both waiver wire pickups for me, because whichever one you see out of camp gets the top power play role, you go and you get him.
Okay, so we spoke about Nemec in our introduction and how this is the new life that he needed out of New Jersey. So Nick spoke about him a bit. Junior, anything to add on Simon Nemec going to the Calgary Flames?
I mean, it'll be interesting. I mean, he'll definitely fight Parekh for number 1, both top. I think he'll get more minutes than Parekh, especially 5-on-5. I think Parekh gets the edge in terms of power play, but he could probably win that position. He could win that over and beat Parekh in offseason. That's a very probable possibility. So, I mean, that's why they're streamers, right? You don't know who's going to get the opportunity and the deployment, and whoever does, you got to be quick on the trigger unless you play it safe and try to stash them if you can. If your team is deep enough, you can stash either or and hope it comes to fruition.
All right, so the final person we have on streamers is another young player in Matvei Gridin. Nick, you spoke about him before, or was it Junior?
Either
way. What are we expecting? I mean, this is Calgary right now is a young team in transition through a rebuild, where usually the young players get an opportunity to show what they have. So, do you think he's going to get that opportunity to push up into the top 6 at some point this year?
So, for all this coaching staff's misery that they've brought, The one player they seemed to like a lot was Matt Gridden, because they gave him an opportunity at the end of the year to really start putting up more numbers and putting more ice time. So I'm expecting that to continue, and that's why I put him under the streamer category, because I think that, there's a chance that this guy becomes a supporting cast player, a player that's going to be relied upon for some fantasy points. But right now, we're just not sure. We're not sure about that ice time, that deployment that he's going to have. So for me, Matt Gridden at the moment is a streamer, but he could become better than that as the season progresses. And I think that's like the overlying story about Calgary, right? Every one of these players has a chance to become better than what they're projected.
Yep. And what I like about Matt Gridden, just to touch into the analytics part, is in 34 games only, relatively small sample size, but he had the best points per 60 out of all his teammates with 2.14. So 20 points in 34 games last year and 37 games. I expect a decent boost. I think he can hit in the 40, 45 point range.
In my dynasty leagues, he was a target of mine. When I was trying to make trades, I was actually looking to get that player for future. But Calgary may be bad for a while, so we'll see.
All right, and finally, tier 5 players to avoid. I mean, that 100-point season seems to be far in the past for Jonathan Huberdeau. Is there any hope and dreams that, in Dynasty and Cap leagues, he shouldn't be drafted, obviously, but in, let's say, redraft leagues, are we even attempting a Jonathan Huberdeau here, Junior?
It's unfortunate, I mean, where did that 100-point player go? But hip surgery is one of the toughest surgeries to come back from. You can ask Sean Monahan. He battled through that for a couple of years. So already his production was plummeting. Now we're expecting him to come off a hip surgery and do what exactly? He's not a young buck anymore. So it's not because we don't like him. It's just given the situation, given his injury status, coming off a major surgery, it's unlikely he does anything that's fantasy relevant, at least this year. Maybe towards the end of the year he picks it up because he gets his step back and he's back in game shape officially. But
look, I completely agree with that assessment. The only thing that I don't agree with is I don't think he's a player to avoid necessarily. I mean, if we go back to just 2024, he had 62 points. And that's probably the most fantasy relevant player on this team. But unfortunately, we're not in 2024. He is coming off that surgery. So there is a chance that this does not age well for Huberdeau. For me, he would have been more of a streamer, but I could understand why we put him in the avoid category, especially coming off that injury. And in cap leagues, that is not a salary that you could stomach.
Not enough production.
No.
Hey, guys, just to tell you how bleak things were for Calgary last year, not one player got more than 45 points.
Jeez.
Brutal.
All right, so before we go into the goalies, we're just going to do a quick word from our sponsors, DraftKings. It all comes down to this. The best 7 battle, and DraftKings has you covered every step of the way. The DraftKings sports app is now available in all 50 states and includes all markets. Sweat every shift of the series all in one place with one app. New DraftKings customers sign up with the code THPN. Spend $5 to get $200 in reward within 21 days. That's code THPN in partnership with DraftKings. The crown is yours.
With DK Sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 1-800-MY-RESET. New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. Connecticut, call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino in Kansas, that text pass-through may apply in Illinois. 21 and over. Void in Ontario. Event contract trading with DraftKings predictions involves risk of loss. Sportsbook bonus bets expire in 7 days. $50 in predictions dollars issued weekly for 3 weeks expire in 1 year. Redeem one non-withdrawable reward. Availability varies. Predictions offer void in New York. Ends June 28. Terms at DKNG.co/audio.
All right, boys. So let's start talking about the goalies in Calgary. Well, there's one goalie, Dustin Wolf. Now, we didn't have him in Fantasy Stars, Reliable Starters, Supporting Cast, or Streamers. Should just Dustin Wolf be in one of these categories, even though he is playing on a very bad team? Nick.
So that all depends on your league settings. If your league counts wins as the most important thing, well, this is not a player that's going to win much because this is not a team that's going to win much. Goals above expected for Dustin Wolf last year was minus 1.8. That's actually not bad for such a bad team because Dustin Wolf is a very quality goalie. The only issue is, again, this team is not a good team. And unfortunately, trading away Rasmus Anderson and getting younger with a Nemec is great for the rebuild, just not great for Dustin Wolf's numbers moving forward. I will say that Middleton is a pretty decent addition. Or is it White Cloud? Who did they add?
No, White Cloud they
Middleton.
already had.
White Cloud is already there and might get traded.
And Jake Middleton was... No, but White Cloud, Conroy said for now he's not trading him. He needs him to be a veteran with all the young defensemen.
Yeah, so I mean, Middleton is who they've added. Could be an interesting player to help out, but it's a far cry from a great defensive team, and especially if Carson Carroll's starts, who I think is one of the best defensemen. You have a 1-2-3 punch of guys under 22 years old, so it's not great.
Junior on their backup, Devon Cooley, he's a veteran backup. How many games do you think he'll take from
Veteran?
Yeah, he's played with LA for 3 seasons.
No, it's not the same. It's not the same guy.
No.
No, he's 30 years old.
He's 30 years old.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But I don't think it's the same guy as. Maybe it is.
No, NHL experience. You're right. He played San Jose 6 games with San Jose Sharks. So
yeah, he
might be a veteran in not in the NHL. No, but so how many games?
Veteran in age.
In age. There we go.
He played 31 games last year. I mean, Dustin Wolf, despite not having his best season, still played 57. I think that's a bit too much, especially on a team that relies heavily on their goalie to stay in games. But again, if something happens to Dustin Wolf, Devin Cooley is going to be their starter. So that's definitely someone you can stream. I just want to tell you guys the difference between one season to the next. I have Dustin Wolf in LPHL, and in our league settings, he went from a 4.4 fantasy points per game in 2024-2025 to 3.37. So he lost 1 fantasy point per game in one season. That's 50 points if he plays 50 games. Mm-hmm. That's a big difference in the standings. So I hope they kind of regulate that a little bit because his numbers, despite being on a bad team, were half decent. 299 goals against average, 899 save percentage last year. We want to see that in the 900s and in the lower 2s, but we'll see. I think for Dustin Wolf, it's gonna be tough again this year because their D line just got younger, less experienced, and less defensively more reliable.
So, prospects to look after. Nick mentioned them. There's Carrells and Reshny, which we all think are not gonna come into the NHL this year.
Why are you making such bold proclamations?
Well, because you think
save that for the end, man.
You think Carrells is going to play in the NHL this year?
I think he's ready. I think he's close to ready.
I never said if he was ready. Do you think they're going to rush him into the NHL?
They're rushing the rest of their team. Parek's not ready. They rushed him. I think Carrells has a chance to play this year.
Okay, Junior.
Ooh, that would be interesting.
Look at Parek. Parek's what, 19 years old?
20.
Yeah. Okay,
20 and a half.
20 and a half. He had no defensive reliability.
No, 0.
They still put him in.
But he played 37 games only. Correct.
Okay.
So
he was.
I'm not
he
saying,
started the year. He wasn't good. They brought him down.
82, but
no, but technically, if you're rebuilding for a player like Carrells, you keep him in the minors, and he's going to the NCAA, so you keep him there and make him play. But
he's committed to the NCAA.
If I'm not mistaken, he committed.
Don't invent things.
Last year, he played in the Western Hockey League with Prince George. 73 points in 58 games.
Nick will look it up. I'm pretty sure he committed to the NCAA, but I could be wrong.
But even if he does play, I do think power play 1 might be a bit of a reach, especially if he starts the season in the end, next year.
I think so.
But out of those 3, he might be out of Corrals.
Yeah, he's going to North Dakota.
Okay, so unlikely he plays next year. But out of Corrals, Nemec, and Perek, I think Corrals is the best all-around defenseman. Like, he might be their number 1 D, but not necessarily their number 1 power play guy, even though he's capable of.
I could see him playing with Nemec on the top pairing for a long time to come in the future.
Yeah, exactly. So it'll be interesting. Okay, so for cap leagues, we're trying to give some love to cap leagues this year. So we're trying to give you guys some good contracts and some really bad contracts. We're not going to go too in depth because we already mentioned these guys. Matt Coronado of 5 years, 6.5. If he could become a 70-point player like Nick said, that's a very good contract in a cap league. Nemec at 5 years at 7.25 is also a very good contract if he can be a PP1.
Well, because of the fact of if you take a look at it,
What everybody else is signed
Michikov
signed at 7.2.
Bowen Byram is at 12.5.
Oh, God.
I mean, Nemec 7.25. That looks like a steal. $5 million less.
Drysdale got like 6.25 or 6.5.
Yeah, so he could be a really good...
He could be a bargain. Now, there's a risk involved with it, right?
Yeah.
There's still things to prove. And obviously, the bad contract on this team is Jonathan Huberdeau, 5 years, 10.5. In a cap league, I mean...
it's obvious, right? Like we said with Pedersen in Vancouver. I think Coronado is a nice buy low. Like, if you're making a bigger deal and you want a bit more value and you can see if that guy, the opposite GM, will throw him in, that could be healthy down the line.
I wouldn't say throw him in. I would target him.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, if I'm a GM, I would.
Yeah, but main piece coming back.
No, but I'm saying because he didn't have a great season last year, his value is lower.
Right, so you could buy him for less.
Okay, you could do that.
But I would still target him.
Okay,
like for me, Coronado, if they end up going the route of a top center next year, right? Let's say they finish second to last or third to last, and they get the top center of the draft. Next year is a very good center class. You know, all of a sudden you're giving Coronado somebody he could play with within that.
Better than Caleb Malhotra.
Ooh, let's not get back there.
Let's not start this.
All right. So our next segment is the rapid fire. So basically, we all pick a player either that we must draft it value drops, late round flyers, watch list, avoid at all cost, or a breakout candidate. So, Junior, I'm going to start with you. You picked a breakout candidate.
Yeah, my breakout candidate is Matvei Gridin for everything I for all the reasons I said earlier. Best points per 60 in his team after only playing 37 games or so. He's going to get more opportunity. They were already trusting him with power play 1 time at the end of last year. The coach hasn't changed. The staff hasn't changed. And they haven't really brought in any better players. So I expect Matvei Gridin's deployment to go up, opportunity to go up. So he's going to be my breakout candidate.
Nick?
So I've chosen a late round flyer. Now, this is if people are sleeping on this player. But Zane Perek, if he drops to your second to last round or third to last round, instead of waiting for him to be a streamer, I say you pick him up near the end of your draft. Because if he ends up taking the top power play spot on this team, that is something that his talent tree could really shine. He's not a good 5-on-5 player, but at least there on the power play, he could shine. And he could be a late round steal if he gets that top power play. And if not, I mean, it was a late round. It's not like you lost much by dropping him.
I'll just add that they're probably going to play from behind a lot. So he's going to get a lot more minutes in the third period trying to
with this coach. With this coach. He's more likely to put milk in White Claw.
And for my rapid fire, I picked I picked a watch list guy, Ethan Wittenbach. He led the NCAA in points last year. I mean, he's got offense. This team needs offense. He is not under contract as of right now, from everything I've read. But if they get him under contract and put him on the team, he's got a good chance of being in a very good situation and looks like he's got some offense to his game.
Producer Vince really going out on a limb here.
Yeah.
That's what we do.
Wyttenbach. Wyttenbach. Pronounced?
Wittenbach.
Wittenbach.
Wow, look at that. He knows how to pronounce things in Europe.
All right, and to end our segment of the Calgary Flames is
Flames.
our Flames is our most anticipated segment, our bold predictions. And since Nick made fun of me, Nick, you go first.
My bold prediction this year, ladies and gentlemen, is Morgan Frost will have a career year and have 55 or more points this year as the top center on this depleted team. And that ice time is basically going to push him up there into that 55 or more points.
I'm doubling down on my breakout candidate. Gridin will lead the Calgary Flames in points this year.
Wow.
If it was according to last year, it's 46 plus points.
Not much of a limb there. Not much of a limb.
So we're all expecting Calgary to be a bit more offensive this year. I have Coronado as my bold prediction to finish with 60 plus points. So if this happens, obviously they'll have a little bit more goals for. But where do we see this team at the end of the year? Where do we see this team?
So our last team that we previewed was the Vancouver Canucks. And if any of you missed it, please go back and listen to our Vancouver Canucks preview. We predicted the Vancouver Canucks were going to be a bottom 3 team in the league. I think Calgary's right there with them, if not bottom 2.
Junior, agree?
Agree.
Yeah. All right.
Top 5 pick next year.
Well, unless there's a large draft and Toronto moves up 10 spots again, or 8 spots, but you never know, right? So
They might not be in the lottery next year.
We'll see about that.
So, as we're playing our outro music, if you're Calgary Flames, you just drafted Carrells, you have Zane Parekh that you drafted high last year, you just traded 2 first-round picks for Simon Nemec. If you get the first overall pick, do you get Landon DuPont?
No.
I don't think so.
They're building from they're doing it right by building from the back, right? So they have Dustin Wolf, who's a solid NHL goalie. So now they're building from the back and getting players from the back. But the one thing they're missing right now is a number 1 centerman. And in this year's draft, there's like 7 centermen that can go top 10.
Yeah.
So you gotta bite on one of them. You can't go another defense. I understand Dupont is like a
Matthew Schaefer type.
Yeah, it might Schaefer,
Maybe.
but
Less all around, but
it'll be interesting.
game changer.
What if he's a McCarr?
But he's a game changer offensively.
What if he's a McCarr?
Yeah, well, you can get him in the second round like Lane Hudson. You can get a defenseman like McCarr in the second round like we got Lane Hudson.
It's like the worst take I've ever heard in my life.
Please follow, ladies and gentlemen, and keep us in your
And your thoughts?
Every time I say stupid, my kids say, "Don't say stupid."
keep us in your playlist because
You stupid.
team previews will continue. We'll have 2 this week and hopefully 3 to 4 next week, and hopefully some guests. So thanks again for listening, and have a good night, peeps.
Peace.